or I'll help you. Okay, here we go. Now, we have EX5_3, and it's a JPEG, and it doesn't have a little Death Star icon. So what program is it going to open in if I double click on it? Open in Photoshop. Directly from Bridge, it will open in Photoshop. If I want to open this file using Camera Raw, how do I do that? Right click, open in Camera Raw, or go to this little aperture icon up in the top bar and click. And there you go. Now I like to have my warnings on, and right now I have my shadow clipping warning on, and you can look at the histogram. A lot of these values are piled up over at the right. Over here, we don't have any pixel information in the very white. This is called pixel wasteland. So the first thing we're going to do, try and set the white balance, which is hard when it's this dark. I'm going to bring up the exposure a little bit, just a little bit. Highlights, okay. Shadows, I'm going to open up the shadows a little bit. Now, what kind of adjustment is this shadows? Is it local or is it global? It's global. It's affecting the entire image. And if you look at the histogram, it's trying to get these values here that are clipped and pull them back in. So we can do this, but I don't want to lose some of the density and mystery that's being created. You guys up here with me? Okay. So I'm going to just leave that at like 18. But I still want parts of this to be a little lighter, but I only want parts of it. So I'm going to have to use the targeted adjustment tool to make some localized adjustments instead of global. I can drag the white to bring up the highlights a little. I think the blacks is good. Add a little bit of clarity. And now I want to open up this part a little without opening up over here. So I hit K to select the targeted adjustment brush. I'm going to reset it. Make sure that the size of the brush is a little bigger. I can control that with the brackets. I've got 100% feather. The flow and density I like to keep down, maybe 50 and 60-ish. Auto mask. And show pins. And now, if I open the shadows, I can paint that in here. If I hit P, it shows before and after. It's kind of subtle, so let me make it a little more obvious for you guys that are watching it from the crowds. If I hover over the pin, it will show me the mask, and only the area selected by the mask is going to have what is applied to the brush. So that's why I made it really severe. You can, at any point, adjust the brush. If you have several pins, so you have a pin over here, and for this pin you want to decrease a little bit, right? If I want to go back to this pin, all I have to do is select it. I'll see my auto mask, and then I can go over to this side and make an adjustment. In this case, my goal was to just open the shadows a little bit, but I also need to bring up the exposure a little bit too. The letter P is before and after. So what I want you to do for this one is play with the pins and the targeted adjustment brush. If I click on this pin, I can get rid of it by pressing delete. And I'm going to get a new pin where I open up the shadow area, the highlight areas with a smaller brush. And what that's going to do is direct my eye to these lighter areas and create a stronger area of interest. If I hover over that pin, I could erase it by selecting erase if I went over too much. I can select the pin and add to it. I could add exposure. I could subtract exposure. But that's all I wanted to do is kind of give it a light source. If I want to add a little bit of yellow to that brush, I can also do that by moving over the temperature. Not going totally yellow, but just adding a little bit of warmth in there. And the letter P is before and after. When you're done using the targeted adjustment brush, hit K to go back to your regular dialog, make any additional adjustments you like, and hit done. And you'll see in Bridge now that it has the Death Star 2, meaning I have been edited in Camera Raw.